recording right now.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Yes. Oh, now everybody shuts up as soon as I turn the record button.
As soon as you hit the record button.
Oh, the car world.
Yeah, the car world.
It's challenging.
Well, what do we have here? Jason Shift Sector Huang has graced us for the second time. He is the highest numbered guest we've ever had at 2.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he brings his he brings his vape machine.
Wasn't our last episode like a year ago?
Look,
It was.
season 2 happened to be 1 year after.
Yeah, it's season 2. We're like, yeah, we're back in it. We're doing this thing. And then we're like, we're not doing this thing at all.
You guys literally disappeared for a whole year on us.
Oh, and I'm afraid I still have a while before I'm back.
For me, it was painful because, I'm a Porsche guy. And I love seeing the Porsches out there. And you guys had, you guys alongside with AIM, who we'd see once a year,
Yeah.
I mean, really, we're the only Porsches that show up. Other than just there's a sporadic few other guys. But, like, you guys are always there, and then of course AIM always shows up with a really impressive fleet of cars. It's just once a year in August in Indy. So it was a bummer for me because I love seeing the Porsches out there, and I love Porsches. So it's just
Well, we're not out. We just had a little break.
We're not, and we switched teams a little bit here.
We switched teams.
Are we gonna talk about what happened, or
Well, sure, we can. Yeah, we're big boys, right?
Yeah, I think. Well, it's weird because I think something a little bit different happened to each one of us, but it all kind of stemmed from losing support.
Yeah. And there is some guilt that I know I carry for flying the EVOSpec flag for years, and then he just not only fell off for everybody, but he fell off for me big time as well. So it was time.
And I actually hoped he had fallen off for me more than he did because it would have saved me from buying a new block. But
turns out he actually had a sleeved 9A1. Taylor did.
Yeah.
So he could.
I had what I paid for. I was the only one, I guess, but that's what I was. Because when we tore down the motor, that's what AIM told me. They go, look, if your block's sleeved, we need a new block. And I was like, all right, well, chances are good that it's not based on all the other motors that have opened up. And mine was sleeved. So now I'm going to have like a really nice piece of furniture. I think that's what I'm going to do with the block.
Put a glass top on it.
Yeah,
something put it in the garage.
Yeah, it'll go in the garage I'm building.
A lot of people don't talk about that because I think online on social media it looks easy, right, to make 1500 wheel in any platform, and all you see is the cool videos of the cars taking off and going 200 something, and it sounds amazing and it looks amazing. But finding a good shop with just good history, good reputation, it's a lot harder to do than people think. Like you pick any platform and you say I want to make 1,500 to 2,000 horsepower, and there's literally for any platform it's going to be less than one hand's worth of options for a good, reliable option basically for build.
Yeah.
Well, you're 100% right, and I think unfortunately some guys left the platform because of a lot of the bad press that EVOSpec was giving out there, and so there's some guys that just moved on to the V10s and whatever because. There was kind of a stain on the Porsche market, but AIM has come through and has proven that they can make a very, very fast, reliable car. When I say reliable,
as reliable as you can expect with 4 times the factory horsepower.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know. And then I think the other thing too that maybe we've said it before is inherently we were in a difficult situation anyway because we never dealt with like one shop that did it all. We had the shop that would put it together, we had the separate tuner, we had the separate fabricator, the separate engine builder, and even if you have the best people in the world, it's still a little bit of a finger pointing game. And I don't know, like, I hung out with all these guys, I liked all the guys, I still to this day don't understand why I had such silly issues with everything from installing turbo compressor covers backwards because my turbos were mirrored, they put them on the wrong turbos, which blew up both turbos.
Oh my god.
Things like the safety precautions weren't programmed in SYTYCIF like they had been requested, so I overspun a turbo and shot the turbine out.
Yeah.
Never did get the PDK to cooperate well with SYTYCIF. My motor did okay. I mean, there were a couple interesting things that we saw when we pulled it open, but it was nothing like Dan and Todd's. No, mine was they're like, yeah, this is pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I don't know how many events I did at Shift Sector with holes in the head.
I don't
You're
know.
pretty fast. You're still fast.
I was a bracket car. Yeah. I mean,
I learned that lesson the hard way with my first Porsche build, which was it's 20 years ago, probably, something like that. 996 turbo, and I had BBI do the build, but then we had Todd Dighton, who's very reputable to tune the car on the dyno, and I was like, this is, I had all the right parts, all the parts were brand name, but that's just what happens, because I had someone else tune it, and when things go bad, everyone points fingers at each other, and it's not anyone's fault. Shit happens, but after that, I always went with a builder, in-house tuner, whoever it was. It just has to be that way.
Yeah.
That way, you could place responsibility somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, that's important. That's what we're finding, and that's really where what I've seen so far anyway. That's where AIM excels, is because they do it all, and when it's wrong, they fix it also. So
yeah.
Not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just saying
race-proven packages. You've seen the result of their cars from 800 wheel all the way up to obviously well over 2,000. And that doesn't mean nothing bad can ever happen to your car, but when you see similar results, right, at 1,500 wheel for a 991 turbo over and over again, 5 years in a row from those guys, it's sort of nice to know, right? It's that's what I can expect.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing. Since they did the entire car, and if there's an issue, they're not pointing the finger at anybody. They're just going to fix it and then go back out and go fast again. These cars are going to break no matter what. People can't assume that you're going to get 1,500 horsepower and just run it forever and something is not going to break. Something always breaks. Something always goes wrong. But no one's pointing fingers. They know what's wrong and they fixed it. That's the beauty of the one shot.
And not trying to make this an AIM commercial, but they did something really cool for Todd in Indy, right? I just want to give credit where it's due.
I went right off the trailer and went just as fast as I had been before. So it was my fault.
I have to bring a part out for you.
Oh, when I spun backward,
But you didn't end up needing it, did you?
That was at Indy. I spun at Indy and went backwards, and we thought the transmission had been toast. And it turns out I blew a freeze plug out. So they popped that back in the hole. JB welded it and threw more oil in, and then I went back out and ran 209. So it was my fault because I left the PSM on. I hadn't driven the car in a year, and I forgot to turn that off. So that was holding me back. Yeah. And it's good for 4 or 5 miles an hour. So I think, in good conditions, I'm in the teens, low teens, I think. So.
Well, and then what's crazy is the last event that I did, I don't even remember what year it was Kansas, whatever. In my 997, my 991 ran almost as fast as my 997 did at that event.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the fastest my 997 had ever gone, but that was after a lot of recommendations on what I needed to change and what was holding my car back, and it just kept running slower and slower and slower. And, I mean, we had a pretty hefty headwind out in Abilene, but I can't remember what it was, a 183 out of the 991.
Yeah, that's crazy. 800 horsepower? Yeah, that's
I know. So efficient, right? Those guys have gotten so efficient, 800 to 1,000, and you're going really fast.
And it drives just like stock until you push on the gas.
Now, but I could have told you years ago that a .2 PDK 997 is a horrible platform. There's always more horsepower just because of the PDK stuff. There's always been an issue with that car.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. AIM posted on their Instagram that I'll be the fastest 997.2 in the U.S.
They already did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, just when I posted, because they sent me those pictures of my new wiring harness. Oh. And so I reposted on my story, and then I don't know who does their their social media, but they posted it and said ES, because I'm doing the ES 1500 package, so I'm going big. It's really the only way in my mind I could justify redoing the build is like I better end up with something better.
100% agree with that.
Huh?
Are you changing the transat to a
No.
PDK?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, that's going to be impressive if it holds up.
Yeah.
Well, I've never seen it. I've just never seen it.
Right.
But if anyone can do it, those guys can. They're great. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same setup as like Dave's car, but I don't think we'll be able to run it as hard as Dave's because the 997 PDK is not the same as the 991.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind, Dave's car makes 1,800 wheel.
Yeah.
And it ran 221.
And that car and driver are just a monster combo.
Yeah.
That guy just continues to reset his own records. And he's amazing.
So let's talk about Shift Sector and the new stuff coming in 2025.
Yeah.
First of all, you've added an event. You've added another Indy, right?
Yep. We, I know I'm getting a lot of emails and DMs about us not returning to California this year, but really, we couldn't make that work this year. So we were like, we need to add an event. And looking at the schedule, speaking to our friends in Marion, they were like, we'd love to host a second event. And I was like, I can't think of a better place. A lot of our friends, and we talk about like AIM and Vengeance and those guys, we only see them once a year coming from the East Coast. Having a second one gives them the opportunity for us to see them twice. And AIM's already confirmed they will be out for both events, which is great for you guys.
For them, it's what, a 9-hour drive. It's quick for them.
It's really good.
Backyard.
So yeah, we'll be there. We'll be out there twice, and we're entering our third year of the half-mile class championship. So that'll be exciting too because we're seeing different faces, different contenders, and every year it's getting harder. Because people, the first year, I mean, some guys won attending just 2 events.
Yeah.
Because people didn't know. Now people know, and last year some guys had to attend every single event to squeeze up their win. So it's gonna, and then now you're gonna have to really do it with more speed.
You know what? If I can make a suggestion, if I'm going to put on my promoter's hat for a second, if you could have Jimmy, the MC, do more announcements regarding the internal competition that's going on. So, for example, if Taylor's up there and he might be in second place, it'd be cool if Jimmy said, "Hey, Taylor is in the ethanol class and he is into the semifinals and he's at this speed. He's trying to make it into the final." Something to that effect. Yeah. It gives those runs more meaning to the folks that are watching.
I absolutely agree. Actually, I think Todd and I chat briefly about it. And so the first step we're making towards that is assigning permanent car numbers to previous year's champion. That way, and not just that, when we pit cars at the event style, we're going to pit the previous year's champions all together.
Oh.
It's going to be a real easy opportunity for some ideas we have. One of them is going to be easy for Jimmy. If a car is between 1 and 10, they're a 2024 class champion. If they're between 11 and 20, then they're likely going to be 2023 champion. We're just moving the numbers around. But consistently, they'll be able to say, car number 7, Julian Basler, ethanol champion 2024 is up right now on the grid, right?
Yeah.
That allows us to identify the previous champions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print an updated points class update sheet for Jimmy before each event. So he can look at it and say, hey, these are the champions and where they stand this year, but these are the guys competing against them. So he can note and recognize those guys as well.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah. That's a really good idea.
And then putting them together allows us to do more photo ops and maybe some potential autograph opportunities for some of these guys. We really want to focus on the drivers and make them rock stars within the sport. And that's something we're going to definitely focus on this year.
Fantastic. I love the idea.
Go and get your championship.
Well, I'm going to be a contender again, Jason. As long as my car stays together.
I'll be a contender one day.
You're in manual class, and I just want to acknowledge manual class is one of the most exciting classes because you get to see all the platforms sort of within the specific mile per hour range. Right? You got the Todd in his Porsche, going to be running 210, potentially more. You've got all the Vipers, and they're running from 210 to 225. You've got the winner of last year, Mike Beecher, in his Corvette, running mid-teens.
Yeah.
I mean, just all these cars. You've got Mustangs consistently breaking 200 now. So many manual cars in that 200 to 220 range. Anybody who's out there consistently getting points is going to be in the running going into Abilene this year. And it's going to be all different types of cars, where when you're looking at all-wheel drive, you know it's going to be a Furcon or R8. You know what I mean? When
Right.
you look at NA class, it's always an NA Corvette. I mean, pretty much. So, manual class, you get all the platforms all lined up against each other, and I think that makes it so exciting.
Yeah, the event gets better and better every year. I thought it was great the first time I went years ago, but it is better and better every year. And it's the only one that really we can go to. It's an unprepped surface, it's nice and safe, and you can go balls out for a half a mile. So 2024, Underground broke their own record, right? They went 260 something, 261.
Yeah, basically 260.72, I believe.
Yeah, I was there. I said it was Mark in the silver
Mark
car.
Brown,
Right?
Mark
Yeah.
Brown, Easy Cycle Parts, Underground Racing, broke the UGR record previously. That had been held for 6 years?
Yeah.
9.99. I mean, that was like that weird number, but
Yeah.
we finally broke the 260, and Mark is currently the champion. Very proud of him.
So you've added a new category, ladies category. Is this right?
A women's class, yep.
Yeah, women's class. Okay. How many do we have in that normally?
The last year and a half, we've had so many women sign up, and they come out and they race everything from cars going 140 to cars going 250.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Kennedy did a 255 or something like that last year, in Abilene at the end of the year. So seeing the growth of women's participation, we really want to encourage that. And also, a lot of the drivers have expressed that they want their wives to also be racing with them throughout the weekend. And rather than throwing them in there into the mix right off the bat, into like an all-wheel drive class or something, we created a women's class and let them sort of, fight it out and have some fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love the idea.
And it's a legit class, full prizes and trophies at the end of the season. They can win prize money. They're going to win the ring. I think I showed you guys the ring.
Yeah, I saw some pictures of that. It looks cool.
Yeah, we have a sponsor and event partner, Indy Facets Custom Jewelry, and they did these amazing rings for our 2025 champions that they're going to get. Real diamonds, and every ring is custom with class, name, and a size of their choice.
Well, that's awesome. I don't know other event and that I know of has a ring as for the championship. That's pretty cool because you can't carry around a trophy for the rest of your life, but you can wear that ring, right?
Yep. Everywhere you go, do one of these and be like, "Oh, what's that? Oh, let me just tell you."
Nice.
That's something Todd would do.
I would totally. I'd be like, "I'm sorry, what was that? A fist bump?"
Yeah, exactly. It's like, "Oh, you were wondering what this was? Let me tell you."
Did you ask me about that? No, but I'll tell you anyway.
Here, sit down. It'll take a couple of hours. Let me tell you all about my gear, my car, and everything.
So, still coming back this year. Main sponsor is AZ Cycle.
Yeah, well, we have different title sponsors for each event, but
Okay.
I'd love to acknowledge them. AZ Cycle is our title sponsor for Hondo, and then we've got Indy's Garage and Newton Oil for our first Indy event in May. We've got Kansas Corn returning for our event in July. We've got good old Indiana Corn with our 3-day live streamed event in Marion in August, and then AZ Cycle Parts is title sponsor for that one.
Fantastic. Cool. Taylor.
Yeah.
How many are you going to this year?
I mean,
Am I putting you on the spot?
Well, depends on when my car gets done.
Which car are you going to race? That's another question. Like, which class are you? Have you decided on a car and a class that you're going to sort of chase?
Well, I mean, I'm going to race my 997, and really, it's a tough car class-wise.
It is.
Because I either need to go all-wheel drive or ethanol, both of which all the big guns come out.
Yeah.
No.
So it's kind of, I'd tell you to make a V10 class, but then that would just leave me in my own class, and that's not very fun.
I will say this: so the ethanol class is also like similar to manual class. You get a lot of different types of platforms.
Yeah.
You do.
Right? And last year, Julian won, and his best speed of the entire season, I think, was 211, 210.
Okay.
But he won that entire class by like 20 points by making every event and maximizing points where he could. Because as you guys know, certain tracks are not great for guys going too quickly. You know, so they don't show up, right? And those are the events you have to win or make the finals. And those events you're getting the points that those other big cars are not getting. And that's how he got the win. So he won ethanol, only a max speed of 211. And I think most of the year he's going like 205, 206. So he won with that. And you're right in that range as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I won the ethanol class one year in Kansas, and I think I got second in another time. So
exactly. So Hondo, Kansas, those two venues, you could get a lot of points for yourself because the big dogs don't show up. Runway's a little bit too short or too slippery for them.
Yeah.
So the first event is Hondo here just outside San Antonio. And it tends to be one of the more slipperier tracks.
It is the most slippery track we've been on all year. I'm going to be honest. Okay, so a couple of things. The airport is working on some stuff that would make it better.
Oh, okay.
So divulge exactly what we're doing, but we're working on some ideas, some expensive ideas, but that'll ensure some longevity with that venue. And I will also say that racing is racing, right? So whether you're racing on a road course or a drag strip, you vary from surface. The surface varies from venue to venue. So people that say, "Oh, we should just do Abilene 5 times a year," that's boring to me. You know, like I think part of racing is modifying and adjusting your car for the conditions you're racing in. Like if there was a light sprinkler, like we're still letting cars run, you still have to qualify higher than the guy next to you, even if it means you're qualifying at 120 miles per hour, right? Like that's racing. Hondo, you may have to change your twin. You may have to reduce the torque. You may have to, you know, that torque curve might have to be a bit lower and more linear, you know, for you to maximize your results. And you might have to add aero, right? You might have to take aero. People take aero off at Abilene. So that's what makes the venues sort of fun to go from one to the next. They all have a different surface. They all have a different length. They all have different widths. And you have to make your car perform the best there versus the competition. And that, to me, that's racing, and I love it. I wish that, you know, not everybody went out and did full sends in Hondo because that's not the way to approach the track. But that is part of
Good
racing.
point. Good point. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Everybody has to adjust. It's the same service for everybody.
Yeah. But for the people that don't know, if you were to rate traction, if Abilene were like a 10, because Abilene's really just excellent. I don't think we've even had a car go off in Abilene in 4 years.
I went off the very end.
Off the runway surface. That's how good it's been. I mean, I'm very proud. We've gone 13 years now without a broken finger, without a broken bone in all of our events. We've had crashes, we've had cars roll, but no one's ever broken a bone at my event, ever, in 13 years. So I'm very proud of them. We pick good venues. We pick venues that don't have trees, you know, like things like that. And our safety team is excellent at every event. But having said that, you know, if Abilene's a 10, Hondo's like a 4, right?
Yeah.
Indy's like a 8.5 to a 9, right? And then this is like a 6. That's what you're working with. Knowing that going into the event, make your car, make your tire selection, your aero adjustment, your tune match that track. And your goal to just maximize points. If you're going for the class championship, obviously, if you're going for personal best, you're always going to pick Indy and Abilene, and that's fine. But for the class championship, you're going to want to adjust your car for the venue and for the conditions.
Yeah, you're right. Kansas is the only asphalt, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I've killed a bird there.
But cars go fast there for some reason. Cars go really fast. Yeah, cars grip there. And even though it's a short runway, we've seen cars go, you know, high 230s. So, yeah.
I've never had a car consistent enough to worry about the traction and aero.
And you also have an all-wheel drive Porsche, so that's not as much of a concern, right? These
Not as much, no.
Cars are like struggling sometimes in Honda.
Yeah.
Well, we couldn't. Dan couldn't make it to this cast, but his progress right now is his engine is being rebuilt up at AIM. So he's just waiting for that to get done, and then the car will be put back together. You know, he should be out this year, I would imagine. You know, sometime this year.
The same car, right? The 997.
Yeah, the red 997. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I miss him too. I hope to see him soon.
It'll be this year sometime, but I plan on making all of the events. Knock on wood.
I'm not gonna wood for you.
I'm gonna go to 2K for a little test and tune. You can't qualify at 2K unless you have like 2,000 horsepower. But I can make a couple of passes and get the car dialed in.
You must have some matchups at TX2K that you're looking forward to. I know you've got some.
Miles.
Yeah. You have like sort of a grudge match waiting for that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I wish, because I think he makes like 2,000 horsepower now or something.
Yeah,
so.
he does.
But that was one of my favorite races back in 2 or 3 years ago against him.
And how about the irony of that? He's an all-wheel drive car now.
I know.
Right? You're the one in the rear-wheel drive Porsche, and he's now all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive. I did look into it. I don't know if I told you guys. I looked into putting a front diff in the car, and it would be such an undertaking.
Yeah.
That I don't even want to try it.
What if you took everything out of your car and put it in just a turbo?
Well, I mean, it's built because it was a narrow body 997, right? So that's why the previous owner built it that way, because he wanted a narrow body car that was rear wheel drive, and he got exactly what he wanted. So now I'm not, I'm facing the limitations of that. But name another GT3 turbo out there that's at shift sector, right? Got to stay unique.
My favorite is when you post something and then some peanut gallery guy's like, should have just bought a GT2.
Why don't you just
shut up?
No shit.
I get that all the time.
I mean, yeah, GT2, you got the turbos, you put the same heads on there, and you've got the same car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so 2K's in about 4 weeks, and then Hondo's in April, so that's going to be fun.
It's going to come, if you look at the schedule, it comes fast, because you've got Hondo, and then literally, 6-7 weeks later, you've got Indy, and then 6-7 weeks. And the entire season is literally only like a month and a half apart. Each event, except for the gap between Indy and Abilene, I think is 2 months. Everything else is only 7 weeks apart. So it's quick. It definitely it's quick.
It does. Taylor, are you gonna try to go to Hondo at least? Just take
You
the
mean
black
like
car? Take the 991?
just go hang out?
Well, think about it. It's a slippery track, so anything in the high 180s is gonna probably have a chance, right?
Oh, I hadn't really thought about it because I swore I wouldn't race the 991.
Oh,
I just took it out one time just to see.
yeah.
I don't know. know.
This is key, Taylor, is that if you have any intention of being in the points in ethanol class, Hondo is an essential event for you to make. Because the big ethanol class won't be there. So you have to make like at least semifinals.
But do points carry from different cars?
Yeah. So it's the points carry with the driver.
Oh.
So
okay.
You can drive your 991 in Hondo and then drive your 997 the rest of the year.
So if I bring 2 cars to the event, do I get double points?
No, you don't get double points, but you can bring 2 cars and have a backup car, which some guys have actually used. Some guys have actually broken their car on Saturday and then bring out a different car for even a rental car.
So they can get to 1 point.
Mark Rao used his rental SUV all-wheel drive car to get all-wheel drive points in Kansas last year.
Yeah.
Because his car was down.
You know what, Taylor? That one year in
The
I totally forgot to. I didn't realize I could go at least. I get 1 point per run, and the car was running. It was just wasn't going faster than 60 miles an hour. But I would have gotten another point and had a chance at the championship.
Yeah, the 1 point matters, So it's the fact that the points go with the driver, Taylor, and the fact that if you're even considering wanting to be in ethanol class points, you should just run the 991 in Hondo. And then you'll carry those points with you in ethanol class, or when the 997 is ready.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that part.
I just need to buy another car, another manual car, just as a backup.
That makes sense.
I've got 2 of them at home. I just let you borrow one. You just need to get points.
Just to get points.
They all matter. It's crazy how tight it can get at the end. Last year, going to Abilene in A class, 2 drivers, a Viper and a Corvette. Will Bartleson and Barry Malone, our 2023 NA champ, were tied going to Abilene. Think about that.
Yeah.
With every event, and they were tied. So that 1 point matters. Like as Todd can tell you, like even if it's 1 point. You think it doesn't matter? It's early in the season. That's really where you need to get it.
Yeah.
People get committed until like after like Indy, right after a 3-day Indy event. They're like, oh, I'm in the running. I definitely am now going to make Abilene. But if he would have made Hondo, for example, then he would have had to lock up, for example, right?
Yeah,
so it's really a jump on. Yeah,
you got to do all the events.
Got to do them all. Yeah, you guys could caravan.
Sort of.
All right.
I mean,
well,
we live 4 hours away from each other.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in Houston before Hondo, so maybe I don't know. Taylor, you're far away, but maybe come out and grab dinner with us or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me know when you're there.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
All right. Well, we're going to do some more podcasts. This isn't the only one we're going to do this year, we promise. We
Heard
want to
that
thank
before.
Jason for showing up and giving us the first podcast visit. So thanks, Jason.
Yeah, appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. You're welcome. Look forward to seeing you guys.
I'll see you in Houston when you come down for Hondo.
Yeah. I'll be out there in Houston. I look forward to seeing Sebastian and Todd, and hopefully Taylor, you can make it. We're going to go for a drive
Okay.
and grab some food and some drinks.
We will do the Houston Heavy Hitters Cruise.
Yeah, save me one of those shirts.
You want a shirt?
I want
Okay.
a shirt.
I got a
Not
shirt
the one
for
you're
you.
wearing.
I've got a whole box of them.
Awesome. Save me an XL. And then also, not to promote another podcast, but I will be also that after Houston, I'm going to Austin, and I'm going to be jumping on Cowboys podcast right before Hondo.
There you
So
go.
about you guys and Hondo and everything going on. So shout out to Cowboy Motorsports.
Perfect. All right. Well,
Cool.
we will see you in a couple weeks, Jason.
Sounds
All right.
good. Man. See you guys later.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
All right.